rumors that I'm going to set the place on fire or blow it up or lock the doors are completely false.
That's Mick Mulvaney, the self-diagnosed right-wing nut job who President Trump has appointed to not one, but two critical jobs. Trump first chose him as a budget director, where Mulvaney proposed massive cuts to health and education spending. He famously critiqued Meals on Wheels as a program that sounds great, but doesn't work.
Is it also a hard-hearted budget?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I think it's probably one of the most compassionate things we can do to actually help
the elderly.
You're only focused.
Several months later, Mulvaney got another job on top of his old one. Trump put him in charge of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the federal agency that protects consumers from getting ripped off by Wall Street, an agency Mulvaney said shouldn't exist in the first place. Mulvaney's first brush with politics came when he was just 13. He worked as an envelope stuffer for Ronald Reagan's 1980 presidential campaign. After a stint in law, Mulvaney joined his family's home building and real estate business. And later, he dipped his toes into the world of salsa. He joined the board of Salsaritas Fresh Cantina, a regional restaurant chain that he bought and ran one of their restaurants in North Carolina.
Salsaritas offers a full line of signature margaritas.
And a margarita he would need. In 2002, while Mulvaney was a real estate developer, he found himself in a bit of a bind. He convinced a county in South Carolina to give him $30 million, that's $30 million, in taxpayer bonds to develop this large piece of property. Mulvaney promised public improvements like roads and water lines and said he planned to build thousands of new homes, a 32-acre business park, and even a state-of-the-art soccer and softball facility. Woohoo! Instead, he didn't build a thing. After getting his hands on the money, Mulvaney turned around and sold his stake in the project, reportedly making millions in personal profit and leaving the county high and dry.
Mick Mulvaney definitely cheated the taxpayers of Lancaster County when he asked for that $30 million to develop this.
A county representative said Mulvaney apparently needed to get the bonds approved so he could unload the property. He didn't tell us he was flipping the property and walking away. In 2006, Mulvaney won an open seat in South Carolina's State House, where his journey in government began. 2 years later, he was voted into the state Senate. Mulvaney's opponent in that election was the target of a gay-baiting robocall that misled voters about her record.
Hi, this is Allison calling from the Alliance for the Advancement of Gays and Lesbians. We are a pro-gay rights, pro-choice grassroots organization. I am calling to let you know that we're supporting Mandy Powers-Norrell in the race for state Senate. A proven Democrat, Mandy Powers-Norrell supports homosexual unions and abortion rights.
The calls claim to be from an organization that doesn't exist. To this day, no one knows who created the robocall. Mulvaney swears it wasn't him. Nevertheless, he won the race, then 4 straight elections to the U.S. House of Representatives. In Congress, Mulvaney was a founding member of the Freedom Caucus. You know them. That's the far-right Tea Party Republicans who worked together to block a deal on the federal budget and shut down the government in 2013. So naturally, when Trump needed someone to oversee the federal budget, Mulvaney came to mind. In his first budget proposal in 2017, Mulvaney called for tens of billions of dollars in cuts to education, environmental protection, medical research, housing programs, and on and on. He did want more taxpayer dollars for one project, that border wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for. Trump was so happy with Mulvaney that he tapped him for another job at the same time. Acting director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, an agency Mulvaney once called a sad, sick joke.
If it has no accountability to anybody, it turns up being a joke, and that's what the CFPB really has been, in a sick, sad kind of way.
The CFPB is a relatively new agency. It was actually proposed by me, Elizabeth Warren, in response to the 2007 financial crisis. The CFPB cracks down on hidden fees, and it holds big financial institutions accountable when they rip off consumers. It's already returned $12 billion to people who've been cheated. It's government that actually works for the people. When CFPB's first director, Richard Cordray, stepped down, Trump rushed to appoint Mulvaney to fill the post temporarily, despite the fact that Mulvaney says he doesn't think the agency should exist in the first place. It looks like Mulvaney will weaken or eliminate rules on Wall Street rather than making sure they're followed. Already, he said he's freezing new hiring, freezing new rules, and freezing new payouts to consumers who were cheated.
We put a 30-day hiring freeze here at CFPB.
After the 30-day freeze ended, he announced plans to bring in 6 loyalists from the Trump administration to help run the place. With Mulvaney at the helm, banks look set to reclaim their edge over consumers.
I'm a member of the executive branch of government. We intend to execute the laws of the United States, including the provisions of Dodd-Frank that govern the CFPB. That being said, the way we go about it, the way we interpret it, the way we enforce it will be dramatically different under the current administration than it was under the last.